Imitated the milkman, yeah.
Oh yeah, when she worked in England there.
Lady Stokes.
Yeah, and whenever the milkman came to Fairdarth, it's Melco. And his mother says a lot of times they'd go running to see if there's any milk, and they would just appear and they'd laugh at them. Yeah.
She mentioned, I think you said, that when there would be some big banquet or whatever that...
Oh yeah. Well, when she first went to work there, she could only work in the kitchen. She wasn't a parlour maid yet, you know. So she said some of the girls that was going back and forth, like they could go in, they left the door open so she could see them. And she said she'll never forget it. The women in their jewels,
Diamond
tiaras on their heads, and the men like all dressed up and then
diamond cufflinks and tie pins,
and
you know.
Candle chandeliers, gold crystal chandeliers. He said that's one thing you would never forget. And then this thing coming from there over to the prairie.
Yeah, when there's sod shacks.
Yeah, I remember her telling me a story once that she had, when she went just after she arrived here, that Grandpa wanted to take her to visit some neighbors who were English, and here they were living in a dugout, and she thought, oh, what kind of people would live in a place like that?
Yeah.
And she said, you know, when I got to meet them, I was totally ashamed of myself, because she said they were wonderful, fine, cultured people, and this was just their temporary living quarters.
Well, and Dad had at least had a lumber house for her, just a shack,
but you know, when she come over, she come on the ship to Halifax, and then she had to take train up to where Dad was living, and Dad, when he knew she was coming, he got the minister to come out there with them and to marry them before Dad took her home. At the railroad station. And was supposed to be coming in at noon, right at noon, and they waited and they waited and waited. Finally Dad says, oh, maybe I should go home and forget about it now. He says, no. He said, we need more couples like you two. He says, I'm going to stay right here with you and marry you before you go. So they waited and waited and waited. Finally at 6 o'clock it comes in. So they were married, and here they'd had a rock slide, and it completely covered the tracks, and that had to be all cleared out before they could come. So Mother said, here her wedding dress that you planned on wearing was not unloaded or anything yet, and so I said, that's quite a thing to come all the way out here and bring a new wedding dress and everything with you, don't even get a chance to put it on.
Yeah. The first time you seen Auntie Jane, Dad took her down to see Auntie Jane was in the garden. Mother said she had her face right down to the ground. What on earth is she doing that for, Dad? She said to Dad, and Dad said, what, you can't see. You've got to do that to tell what she's done.
Which is her plants or which is her weeds. Yeah.
So she was pretty well blind for many years, I tell you.
Yeah. What about the trip to Norbuck? I know you've told me the story before, but I would kind of like to get you to
Norbuck, out where we lived.
Yeah, to where you lived there
from Cooking Lake?
From Cooking Lake, yeah.
Oh, it was quite the trip, all right, because it was the boys were out already. It was just Vi and Myrtle and I and Mother and Dad. And the Dad had the hay rack fixed up with a tarp over at the top. And then the front half had some furniture, and then he used to every once in a while sneak a green feed, like a stick in there to feed the horses, because he had nothing to feed them. And I don't know how long it took us. It took us quite a while, all right. One of the horses was lame, and by the time we got to Sunnybrook,
Yeah.
we had to go into Stones.
We had to pull in there
Corner there,
and stay.
overnight, and then Dad went home the next day, back to Breton, like, and to Jim Impey's. And then the next morning Jim came back with his team, and then he pulled the wagon the rest of the way.
And here Mrs. Impey had a nice supper for us, all cooked.
Yeah,
So that was
first
really
meal we
good.
had in here. But
Yeah, first day we ever met the people, and they made this big supper for us. Very, very friendly people.
To me, Annie looks like her, and acts very much like her mom.
Yeah. But they were good neighbors. I remember one time, well, they had a family of little kids, and their one cow, the milk cow, she'd caught a stick run into her bag, and Mr. Impey comes up to Dad, and he says, will you come down and help me kill that cow? And so Dad went down and looked. He says, well, you don't have to butcher her. He says, we'll just pull that out and medicate it, and you still got milk out of the other 3/4. So that's what they did. And Mrs. Impey said afterwards, was I ever glad, because otherwise the kids wouldn't have had any milk all winter long.
Oh. So this was their only milk cow?
That was the only milk cow.
They were poor, I tell you, but Jim was the first thing as soon as he came in there, Betty love, or where are you, dear? Or,
Yeah.
and if you went to Drayton or to Bratton, he always came home with a little bag of candy for the kids. It wasn't much, but it was a little bit.
Yeah, him and Dad took I guess Mr. Impey had his load of logs, or
Fence post.
Fence post, that's what it was. And Ray had a load.
Yeah.
And they got down, going by Guilford, well, not on the highway, but cutting across before we get there. Here they got stuck.
Oh, it wasn't.
And-
it wasn't Jim. Marvin Burris was with him.
When they had the truck, yes.
Oh,
But anyway, they had trouble getting through that too. Yeah.
So did they use the fence post for corduroy, or?
Oh,
yeah. And then pick them up again and put them back on the load and go in.
It's a hard way to get someplace,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I tell you. Up past Walters, when up past Reed, that's quite a road. In front of Walters, that was terrible.
Well, somebody had mentioned once that they thought that Walter's farm was very low and wet, and never impressed me that way.
No, me either.
Well, they made that place now into a acreage, the house.
So they've subdivided it then into acreages?
Yeah.
I think the rest of the farm is just,
Oh, just the
building,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, around the house like they subdivided it. Same as what they done to Ray's house there.
Oh, they did that as well, eh?
Yeah, 'cause Aaron.
Oh, that's right.
Aaron owns
Aaron.
the other part,
And Sue still got the rest.
There's a picture, one of those pictures in the box there was a house, and they were tearing off an addition, and I was wondering if that was your old house when when Aaron and them rebuilt it.
I don't think they took anything off. I just think they added on to
They
it.
Oh, okay.
take the porch off.
Well, maybe the porch
Yeah, they
part,
did.
yeah, but it was just where you walked in.
Okay, so just a small
Yeah,
porch, then not
but
a...
they took the east wall and they built on from that further east.
Mhm.
And they put on a master bedroom and a living room. And then where the living room was, that was their dining area now.
And the kitchen they put all changed about. What used to be
Yeah.
where the table was by that window. They got the sink there.
Yeah. Yeah, they got it all changed around, but
And the fridge is in the corner as you come in.